Hola there, my beautiful friends. Welcome back to another video. My name's Julia, and in this one, I'm sharing the reality of my life and food. I currently live out of my car. I spent a lot of time with friends this week enjoying the summer. I worked a lot and didn't sleep enough. Life is busy, and sometimes that affects the way you nourish yourself. But without further ado, let's get into the video. I'm starting off day one classically with my AG1, but unclassically in a coffee shop parking lot because, like I said, I'm living in my car currently. I'm car camping, and it's a beautiful time, but the reality of the situation is my boyfriend broke up with me, and now I live in my car. Hi, welcome to my life. In all honesty, it's a beautiful experience, and I'm currently making a smoothie at my friend's house because we're doing a wonderful hike on this day. While I was sipping on that, I chopped up some things for a sandwich. We got some cucumber, red onion, some tofu. We're going to throw all of that onto a whole wheat bun along with some Dijon mustard that I brought back from France, sriracha, our tofu, our cucumber, some green tapenade, red onion, and I almost forgot some lettuce as well. I threw that into a reusable silicone bag, which then I packed away to bring on the hike. I also brought along with me some pumpkin seeds and some walnuts to snack on throughout the day, a protein builders bar, the mint kind, because the mint is the best frickin' one. Debate me if you shall wish, but I'm going to win because it's the best. But anyways, let's just acknowledge this magical, beautiful view that I was surrounded by on this day. Mountains carry so much energy that is so wise and calming, and I feel so lucky to be able to immerse myself in it. This guy here is the one that we're trying to summit on this day.
Ready? 1, 2, 3. This is where we're going, right up there.
I also fueled my body on this day with a water bottle full of vegan protein powder and a package of Matcha Aid, which is an electrolyte blend with some matcha from Matcha.com. We eventually got to the summit of the mountain that we were climbing. I ate my sandwich and felt so rewarded and blessed.
A massive thank you to Matcha.com for sponsoring today's video. If you've been hanging out here for a while, you know I love their products. I've been using them for over a year and a half now, and they're just the best matcha I've ever tried, sincerely. So, I mean, that should just be the ad right there. Really. Click the link down in the description box. You definitely can use my code though, LOVEJULIA, to get 25% off, but let me share a little bit more of the products that I love about them. Love about them? Love of them. So my newfound favorite product by them is their matcha masala chai. It's floral and bright, yet smooth and soothing and very easy to sip on. I've been loving it in iced form. But as I've talked about before, not all matcha is created the same. Matcha Kari's products come from some of the only 60 or so authentic Japanese matcha farms that are left in the world, which honors ancient traditions. Matcha is so much more than a green powder that can give you a boost of energy in the beginning of the day. It also has a rich history. It would aid monks in the meditation process because it actually calms the mind and helps you to focus instead of the jitteriness that coffee gives you, for instance. And it's also believed to be great for the brain. And maybe matcha lattes aren't your thing, and that's totally okay. I understand that matcha is a bit of a required taste, but I love mixing their vanilla matcha into smoothies or yogurt bowls to enjoy the energy and the health benefits that it gives me. Matcha.com also carries turmeric powder, ginger powder, a variety of loose leaf tea options, lip balm, beautiful matcha accessories. They've got so many things to offer you, so check out their website, and when you decide to purchase something, use my code LOVEJULIA to get 25% off of that purchase. That's an amazing deal. That's a great deal. Click the link, use my code, and I'd like to thank Matcha.com for providing me the best matcha that I've ever tasted in my whole life and providing you a great deal and for sponsoring today's video. We love you. We love Matcha.com. All right, let's get back into it.
Once we got back, I ate some very unaesthetic leftovers that were soggy and kind of gross, but I was just so hungry. I eventually showered up and we picked up some sushi to snack on for dinner. I got some veggie rolls along with an array of different things here. A little salad, a little rice, some eganashi tofu, and this spinach thing that I can never fully remember the name of. And I just want to remind you that even on a day that you exert your body and do something really difficult, it doesn't also mean that you have to stress yourself out with another task of making dinner, for instance. This whole adventure took us 7.5 hours, and it was a full day's worth of work, and I was not vibing spending more time in the kitchen. So being able to enjoy some takeout with a friend was just a perfect experience after the day that we shared together. I think a lot of us get caught up in the idea of perfectionism. We have to move our body perfectly, we have to eat perfectly, we have to be perfect. But really, I'm here to fight that and remind you that, hey, this is real life. And good morning. I'm starting today off with a matcha. My favorite frickin' matcha from Matcha.com. I whisked up about a teaspoon in some hot water, added some maple syrup, stirred that in, and then topped it off with some frothed milk, which the milk did not stay frothed very well. I don't know what it is about the brand of soy milk that I bought, but not a good frother. For breakfast, I'm mixing up some coconut yogurt, some vegan berry protein powder, a splash of soy milk, topping it off with some raspberries, pumpkin seeds, and walnuts. I then toasted up some bread, beautiful sourdough bread, my favorite kind, and added some strawberry jam and banana. I really just felt like keeping life simple on this morning, so toast and yogurt. Also, I gotta hype up Yogu's coconut yogurt. It is sincerely the best vegan yogurt I've ever had. And if you have it around you, it's expensive, but I'm telling you, it is worth it. After getting some work done on this day, I took myself out to grab a delicious sandwich from one of my favorite little coffee shops. This one is called the Full Veggie Sandwich, and it has roasted eggplant, zucchini, and I believe garlic as well, along with some fresh spinach, tomato and red onion, sun-dried tomato, there's walnut pesto. It is absolutely freaking fantastic, and I feel like the only thing that would make it better is if it was on sourdough bread. But because I was working from the moment I got up on this day, I sat with myself, did some journaling, and then found myself in a forest. I munched on a banana and some chocolate, and then it was time to make some dinner. And I have to tell you guys, I've been absolutely loving the 70% Madagascar Lindt chocolate. I don't know how they do it. I don't know why it is what it is, but it tastes like milk chocolate even though it's vegan. How? I don't know, but I'm okay with it. Anyways, it's time to make some dinner. We chopped up some potatoes, threw them into a cast iron pan along with some olive oil, minced up some garlic, rinsed sort of-ish, some black beans, seasoned our potatoes, added our garlic, some onion powder, mixed that all in, along with some oregano and our black beans. The timing on all of this was cook your potatoes about 50% of the way, turn down the heat, add the garlic, seasonings, let that do its thing until about 75% of the way there. Get the black beans in there for the final bit of softening up on a lower heat. We made our sauce, and then I'm actually going to rip in some kale for some brightness, freshness, greens, and throw some red onion in here as well. And I did this a few minutes before actually serving it. So we're not trying to cook the kale or cook the red onions, we're just trying to soften them up a little bit. We added some more seasonings, chipotle, chili powder, salt. I turned off the heat, threw in our sauce, and then plated it all up. Well, not all of it, about 75% of it.
This is a really funny angle. For the pure sake that it makes me look like I'm this big, I think I'm gonna keep it because it makes me giggle. The red onion thrown in at the last minute was such a good choice because it still has that like red onion freshness to it, but it's a little bit softer.
I then went over to my old house and hung out with some roomies, made myself a hot chocolate, and then one of them was gone on this night, so I decided to sleep in her bed because she offered and eat a piece of toast in it because, you know, live life.
I don't know why, I just had a weird craving for plain toast. So that's what I got. Warm bread.
On this morning, I got up early, did a yoga class, and then just went straight to a coffee shop, did a little bit of work, drank a coffee, had some banana loaf, and then headed back home-ish. This is sort of my home. I don't know what to call it. I had some AG1 and then started on some breakfast. I decided to just warm up some leftovers. I needed my life to be easy, and in that is eating the food that you already got available to you. I decided to spice up this piece of toast with some tapenade and some sweet chili sauce, fresh basil, and some lettuce. And once our leftover black bean potato mixture that we had last night for dinner was warmed up, threw that on the plate, and there we go. Simple, easy, not perfect, but delicious, and hey, I got something in my stomach, and that's what really matters. I used to put way too much pressure on myself to make every single meal perfect, aesthetically pleasing, or well-balanced, but I'm getting into the fact that life is busy and hard, and it takes you a million different places all at once, and it's hard to manage it all. So taking your focus away from one thing to focus on another is okay at times, and sometimes that has to be the way you nourish your body to get more work done, or sacrificing not having a perfect dinner to hang out with friends. It's all about balance. It's about the bigger picture. That's what's really important here. For dinner, I'm mincing up a crap ton of garlic into my cast iron pan along with some olive oil on very low heat. We got some noodles and some boiling water, and then I forgot to record all the other steps of making this sauce. But classic spices, oregano, basil, pepper, chili flakes, salt, along with a tablespoon of tomato paste and crushed tomato sauce. That's it. Simple, easy. I had an intense craving for red sauce and noodles, and that's what I really wanted. However, I did feel the desire to have a little bit of freshness with this meal, so I massaged some kale along with some salt and some vinegar, added some red onion to that, mixed it up, and then added this blueberry basil salad dressing. It's naturally pretty sweet, so I really love having the extra vinegariness, acidity from either lemon juice or a little bit of vinegar from massaging the kale, because I love having more sauce than noodles. I always have sauce at the end of my bowl. I mix some more noodles into it and call it a night. I recently got a comment asking me how I make my hot chocolate, and to be completely honest, I don't have an exact recipe. I kind of wing it every single time, mixing cocoa powder and some sort of adaptogen or maca into it, a little bit of maple syrup, sweetness to taste, and then it's about 30 to 40% hot water and the rest of it frothed milk. But on a more serious note, I used to judge myself and other people pretty drastically when it came to food, how they fueled their body, how I fueled my body, and I became very aware of this orthorexia mindset a few years ago. It's taken time and patience to unravel and unwind these thought processes and patterns, but that is still a side of myself. I cannot separate myself from it because it was who I was, which then made me into the person I am today. And every experience we have affects us in some way or another, some in bigger ways, some in smaller ways. But we don't have to allow these sides of ourselves to control us. How I started not allowing it to control me is to question why I had these patterns and thought processes to begin with, and then to assess what value they had in my life. Yes, it's important to fuel our bodies with nourishing whole foods, but when it comes from an obsessive mindset of thinking that everything has to be perfect, that's when harm comes into play. That's when we get anxiety about every single tiny thing that we put in our body. That's when we spend hours in a grocery store reading labels of products. That's when we say no to going out with friends or not eating enough food because we think that a lover is not going to want to be with us because we're not skinny enough. Things of that nature. When thought processes start to affect our lives and on a bigger picture, it's time to question them. But try to question yourself with understanding and grace, because you're not going to hate yourself into a better pattern. You most likely got into these mindsets out of fear and hatred of yourself. So we have to love ourselves and be graceful towards ourselves to get out of them. It takes time, but maybe, just maybe, one day you can sit, drink a beer with a friend, and eat half of a pizza and thoroughly enjoy it.
Balsamic vinegar.
Whatever you're dealing with in this life, whether it's a balance between life and food or a deeply profound spiritual healing process, know that love is the answer. Love is always the answer. And that answer is never going to change.
Let's take a sip from the cup of chance.
Cold pizza is one of my favorite things to have for breakfast. It's almost more enjoyable to eat it the next day cold, while you're still in your pajamas. Cheers.
For lunch today, I got outside, nuzzled myself away in some greenery, and started cooking away. Chopping up a bunch of portobello mushrooms, heating a cast iron pan on medium heat along with some olive oil, throwing the mushrooms into the pan along with some chopped up red onion, and allowing them to do their thing for a couple minutes before seasoning them with some salt and some onion powder. A couple minutes later, I doused them in balsamic vinegar and then added a decent amount of oregano and basil. I don't want those spices to burn, so I gave them a little stir and then chucked in some zucchini and some tofu. Lowered the heat, mixed all of that in to spread it out, seasoning it with a touch more salt because tofu needs salt, some more black pepper, some more balsamic vinegar, and I felt the need to have another AG1 on this day because I just felt a sickness coming on and I wasn't sure where it was coming from, if it was maybe just allergies or whatever. So pumped my body full of more vitamins and minerals and all of the antioxidants and good things. Once our meal was done, I had the leftover buns from earlier in the video that I really needed to use up, so I used one and then threw it on the grill to try to toast it, but I ended up just burning it. It was like a whole thing, but some whole wheat bread with this meal was definitely a plus. For dinner, I needed something simple that didn't require a lot of thinking. So I made some rice, threw that on the stove, let it do its thing for about 30 minutes, and then just chopped up a bunch of veggies. We got some leftover red cabbage that needed to be used up, some parsnips that really needed to be used as well. Chucked that onto a baking dish, realized the baking dish was not big enough for everything that I wanted to throw on there. So brought in the big boy and topped her off with some wax paper, which is not the same as parchment paper. Let's just put that out there, and let me tell you, don't use wax paper in replacement of parchment paper. But hey, that's all I had to use in the house, so that's what I went for. I also had some zucchini in this mixture along with some red onion and some carrot, and I just seasoned it all with olive oil and salt. Spread that out evenly and then threw some garlic on there as well. Baked it in the oven at 425 for about 30 minutes or so, and while that was doing its thing, I made a sauce with a decent amount of miso and an entire lemon's juice. And to balance the umami and acidity out, I added some agave syrup, and to spice things up, some goju-garo spice. Mixing that all up until the miso paste is well dissolved within the mixture, and then once the veggies were cooked, I drizzled the sauce all over, mixed everything up, and then plated a big bowl. The reason I didn't cook the veggies with the sauce is, one, I didn't know what type of sauce I wanted yet with the veggies when I threw the veggies in there, and two, miso paste is such a wonderful thing for the gut, and I wanted to get all of those probiotics from the freshness of it. I plated up my black rice along with some fresh cucumbers, drizzled the last little bit of sauce that was left in that bowl, topping everything off with some green onions and sesame seeds. This meal idea can be made in 101 ways. Whatever veggies that you have to use up in your fridge, chop them up, throw them on a baking dish along with some salt and garlic. Maybe you want to throw some ginger on there as well. Whatever the case may be, top it all off with a delicious sauce and make some rice or quinoa, and you got a great meal. Please remember, balance is about the bigger picture. Sending you all of the love in the world, and I hope you have a beautiful rest of your damn day. Mwah!